We are in Sacramento at the state capitol, and we are here filming an interview with Graciela Tiscareno-Sato. And Grace, you have an amazing story to tell, so I'd appreciate it if you could tell us a little bit about your military background and what you happen to be doing right now.
So thank you so much for the question. 2 weeks ago, I was at the Capital City Air Show at Mather Field, which is where I started my Air Force career. So I was an Air Force ROTC scholarship cadet at Berkeley after growing up in Colorado, daughter of Mexican immigrants. So I made a big cultural shift away from my family and into being a scholar at Cal, courtesy United States Air Force and a scholarship. Mentoring made possible by my high school counselor's husband, who was an Air Force major, who told me about the scholarship. So grateful to him and to her for that help. After finishing at Berkeley and doing the ROTC program, I was then selected to go fly as an aircraft navigator, which took me here to Mather Field. So 2 weeks ago, I was back at Mather Field where I got my wings, but this time as the author of the award-winning bilingual Captain Mama children's book series, which is effectively my military career told through bilingual children's books in English and Spanish. So at the air show, I was able to showcase this unique bilingual aviation trilogy and bring flight suits for the kids visiting the air show to try on, which is what I do at lots of air shows. And here's the trilogy. The first book in the series was inspired by my son Kiyoshi when he was in preschool, and he saw me in my flight suit and started asking questions about what the patches are and what's the square on my shoulder. And so it became a conversation between a woman veteran and her son about what she did in the military. And through the patches, I was able to explain that I flew on the KC-135, that I served as a navigator, that I had over 2,000 flight hours and everything that's on the uniform. And so that's the first book. And so little Marco falls asleep at the end of the first book, wondering if his mom will take him out to the airplane. And so the second book, Captain Mama's Surprise, La Sorpresa de Capitán Mama, starts with the school bus, with Marco and his classmates pulling up in front of the KC-135 where his mom flies. And we meet the crew, which by the way is 3 women and a guy, all real people that I flew with, real names, real faces. And they tour the airplane and they learn about the systems. And there's a lot of aviation technology that the kids learn as they tour the flying gas station. And very importantly, it is little Marco, the child, who's narrating the book. It is in the voice of a military connected child. And at the end of the book, there's a very special surprise where it's not just a field trip, we're gonna take you flying. And wait till you see the airplanes that are inside this book. They're some of my favorite airplanes in the Air Force, the coolest airplanes in the Air Force inventory, and get to see in an imaginary force ship that's inside. So then I present to you for the first time ever, even before we launch it, taking flight with Captain Mama. This is the promise of the flight. And this finds little Marco sitting in the jump seat between the 2 pilots in the flight deck of the KC-135, which is the airplane where I served and flew. And so we hear from Marco his excitement, his enthusiasm, and the entire class of kids that he's with as they fly, they take to the sky, and they see aerial refueling for themselves.